find you a vehicle like the 6.4 that has cruise control that just wants to get up and go. My foot's not on the gas. Here's the cruise. I'm gonna press it up like 6 times. Watch that speedometer. I've had a lot of vehicles in my day, and this is the only one that just like, shoo, just goes. What's going on YouTube? Matt here, Hollywood's Garage. Today's video is for some of the new subscribers I have, kind of updating why I have one of the worst diesel trucks that everyone talks about, why I chose it, and why I'm planning on building it up. So let's get this video started. So as you see in the background is my 2008 F350 6.4 liter diesel Harley Edition. It came with 2 different variations, the orange stripe on the bottom with the Harley on the tail or on the side of the box. That's like a 3D sticker. And then the other one they had was all black with the orange stripe coming from the bottom of the window all the way to the back, and then it said Harley Davidson in the black, right? Because it'd be an orange sticker. I've had that version before, and I've had my first ever 6.4 was about, let's see, 2013-ish maybe. It was in 08, it was red, it had a 7-inch lift, it was a 6-inch lift with a 1-inch spacer with leaf springs in the back. It came with a set of 22s by 10s, so rocking 22s back then with a 37-inch by 13.5 Intercoast Super Swamper. I love that truck. Honestly, I bought it used. The guy had all the work done to it. He never had it deleted though, which was super weird. So I ended up deleting it, putting a Edge tuner, I think, back before all that illegal to delete your truck stuff. So Edge actually did deletes. Found a used tuner, threw it on there, deleted it, kept the EGR on, but obviously shut that part off. The truck was awesome. It was re-geared also to a 4:56 gear ratio for the bigger tires. The guy that owned it he worked at a trailer place. He delivered brand new trailers and stuff, so he needed it for towing. That's why he re-geared it. You're supposed to re-gear with these bigger tires. And I heard also with these 6.4s, the computer can only go up to a size 37-inch tire for keeping your speedometer in calibration. So either you change your gears and to change it, or you manipulate there's like a graph you can manipulate that for all your, anyway, yeah, so you can't just go up like, well, I'm putting a 40-inch tire on it, autocorrects. You can't do that anymore. Just up to 37-inch is what I was told. So yeah, had that truck, loved it. I shouldn't have sold it, to be honest. Of course, you know, when you're younger, you're like, oh, I'm moving on to the next big thing. I don't need a big diesel in the city, right? I moved from the country to the city, and I'm like, I don't need this thing. So got a half ton and went from there. I've had like 15 vehicles since, but then I ended up getting another 6.4, the Harley one I talked about, the black one. It was an old welding truck. She was beat up, but man, that thing ran great. I had it about 3 years ago. Put a set of 20s by 12s on it. Deleted it with an H&S tuner. Thing rolled coal, ran good. I had about the same, actually 20,000 less kilometers than this one did. So I had a 270-ish when I bought it. It was just, you know, the body was starting to give out. It was like all of these running boards were all broken up. They're starting to rust in the cab corners and stuff. Where you see down here, these cab corners are mint. This whole truck is like, being a Southern Alberta truck, she's in really good shape. So has the factory powder, like not powder coat, the factory spray on it for rust protection. So it's super clean. The only little bit of rust there is on this tailgate. Tailgate, on the rear bumper, which I'm going to be putting a different one on. I got plans for that, so keep the eye out for the video on that. And then a little bit of surface just from paint from the tires. And the tires on this truck are only a 31. I mean, they're brand new though. So my speedometer's a little low because I think 34-ish, I think is factory size. And if you've been following along on my TikTok, I ended up, or my Instagram, finding some brand new old stock center caps. This truck came with them off, probably to access the hubs, because the 4x4s in these trucks are super great. If you have one, you know, you know. Anyway, found those. Now they're too shiny. Makes the back feel crappy. So, story on this truck is, I was tired of having truck payments before this. Had an 18 F-150, all blacked out, had 24s on it. It was a super nice truck. Just tired of having a payment, so I got rid of that. because the US is buying these trucks up for big money. So I got rid of, I actually made money on that truck, to be honest. Got rid of that, and then found this one on the internet, or I should say Facebook Marketplace, like everyone else does nowadays. And I really wanted not a Lariat, because to get the black interior, I think you had to go 09 or newer, and they're just harder to find 09s and 010s. Lots of 08s, because I think in 08, when these trucks first came out, of course, it was the first year of the body style, the first year of the 6.4. They had put a bad name for themselves, right, with their emissions that they had on them. So 09s and 010s are kind of almost a rare thing, it seems like, these days. Let me know of your area if they're easy or not. Like, bloop that down in the comment section if you have a lot of 09, 010s, or just a lot of 08s. So anyway, this one popped up. I was looking for a King Ranch, because obviously the interiors are super nice in those. One of the best interiors, I think, Ford's done, to be honest. Like, that year too, because the leather, it's so good. So this one popped up down, like shit, like 6 hours south of me. And I wasn't about to drive all the way down or take a look at it. The guy had it stored for a few years. He had like 3 or 4 photos. Anyway, we talked back and forth. He ended up owning a tow company. So I think he ended up towing it in because the previous guy broke down. So obviously that's not good, but I find that out later on. So he ended up keeping it for a few years, probably waiting for the guy to either pay his bill or finally just possess the truck and own it. So he ended up putting it up for sale. He was asking 20 grand for it. He sent me videos of everything I asked for, pictures, video of it, a little bit of blow by, which is kind of like factory on these 6.4s in a way. Not factory, but like not bad. The truck does have 290,000 when I bought it, so it's seen some miles. So anyway, he ended up driving it up to me because he had a meeting up in the area where I live in, so he drove it up for me. So I pretty much just gave him the cash and drove away. Little did I know that it was deleted. It had a tuner on it, has an H&S book in it in the console, but that's missing. A lot of guys just rip those out and they can reflash them and reuse them, right? Because they're hard to find and they're still worth some money. And the tuning on them, even though they're super aggressive, and that's how you melt pistons in these trucks. They are, man, they can roll coal like no other. I wish I had a video of my old 6.4, the Harley one before this, because I had that thing turned up and just a train of black smoke. But they're bad for, like I said, melting these pistons with aggressive timing they have in their tuning. So anyway, he had it, but he ended up reflashing it back to Ford stock. So of course the exhaust it's a straight pipe 4-inch. The EGR was still on it, but the truck kind of kept going into regen mode, which put it into limp mode. So it's pretty much useless to me. It started up at idle fine and all that. It just wouldn't really drive out of limp mode speeds. So I finally get that figured out. I ended up buying well, first of all, I bought the SCT Livewire Plus with the delete tune. Up in Canada, that's legal. So US, you can beat it. Just kidding. Love you guys. So yeah, tried to download that. I have a whole video on that trying to explain that. So go watch that video. But anyway, that ended up not working for me. I had to go with a Easy Link. I went with an Easy Link, which works way better on these trucks. I explain all that in that video too. So anyway, she's deleted with a 50 horse tune. I asked for the 5 switch and that's all they put on it. It's kind of a pain in the ass because they're not really that close to me, but they're local. It's just to drop the truck off for them to update that is annoying because I just use they use their little fob, sending me spending another $600 for that fob that goes in to do the tuning, but I digress. So anyway, got the truck. Now she has full power, right? She's good. Find out the transmission slips. Anything above half throttle, when you're giving her the beans, she slips in every gear. It was a solenoid D code that would pop up, which I think is pretty common. It's direct drum codes for these transmissions. If they're gonna go, that's usually what goes. And that could be easily fixed by just the solenoid being sticky, so changing fluid or dropping the pan, taking that solenoid and either replacing it or just freeing it up. But knowing this truck, and by this point I knew like the previous owner just kind of let this thing ride. Like he just, as things were coming up with issues, he just let it go and go and go. I think she was used for towing, a lot of towing. It still does, they're not hooked up. It has front airbags in the shocks and also airbags in the rear. So I must have just used this as a tow pig. Must have been a farm guy or something. When I pulled the dash out to change the heater core in this thing, which is another issue I found, they used stop leak, which plugs heater cores. Do not use stop leak, guys. Fix your leak. Unless you're in a pickle and you gotta get somewhere, but you're gonna have way more issues. And heater cores nowadays are not fun to swap out. I have videos on that, so watch that. I can do it. Remove the whole HVAC box with the cab on. It's tricky, but it's doable. Anyway, watch that video. I have a few of them, but that one shows you how to do it properly. Anyway, so I ended up finding out the transmission was slipping. Ended up finding a good used one the guy had on for Facebook Marketplace again. Yay, Marketplace for the win. He, $1,000. I had 10,000 K on it. The engine blew. He was going to do a come and swap, decided not to, so he parted it out. Met the guy. It was one of those things, Rand. It was a crapshoot. $1,000 for a trans, or I could have got a rebuilt one for like $3,600 with the clean torque converter. With the torque converter obviously cleaned out and redone. With some upgraded parts. They don't put just the factory. They upgrade the ones that are known to have an issue. So I'm like, whatever, I'll take the gamble. So I end up doing a video on that one too, doing a transmission swap. Super simple. Don't need a bunch of crazy tools, just a good jack to lift and lower it. The transmission, doable with one person with the cab on. So watch that video as well. So swap that out. Had to do the reset of how to calibrate your shift linkage on for your shifter to the side of your transmission. I explained that. Then I also off camera did, I should have showed it, but I did how to do the reset of your transmission, your TCM, your transmission controller, because these are adaptive, like they're electronic. So they kind of always adapt to how you drive. So I was getting used to the old transmission. It would, almost pop out of gear at like a certain RPM and then like go in between gears, because that's how it did. It would slip, the direct drum would slip. So that's how it would act. So I reset that and now we're good. I've put on, I don't know, 1,000 kilometers since then. So now that's transmission, luckily worked out perfect. Everything's good, no leaks. I honestly didn't even drop the pan in it. I drained it. It wasn't fully drained it and added, after I installed it, I put new fluid in it. It's been good ever since, so that's awesome. So yeah, fixed that. Then I had the heater core. I fixed that. Took a few times because I tried to do it the easy way. Don't do it the easy way. The pros say it works. It don't work. I tried plenty of times, which is just cutting the tubes, putting in a rubber hose. So you don't have to pull the HVAC box, but just pull the HVAC box. It's a pain in the ass. Yes, you're gonna have to redo your AC after with new Freon and stuff, but it's the best way to do it. No more leaks. We're all good there. So I had that as an issue, the transmission. And then later on, I'm just like, oh, what the hell? I'm getting a leak, an oil leak from the engine. I hate oil leaks. They're like a pet peeve. I hate having a drive. Nothing worse than a driveway just stained up. It just looks trashy and I don't like it. Passenger side valve cover, I ended up changing that, changing the fuel pressure regulator while I was in there, or sensor, I guess, not regulator. There's a video on that as well. And I thought I fixed it, but it didn't. Ended up wrecking the factory, to be honest. Glow plug harness, so I put a new one of those in, video on that as well. And then I kept finding my not really popping out, but on both banks that my valve covers where your glow plug harness goes through were like kind of popping out, but not really, but they were kind of leaking. So obviously the engine had some blow by, more than it could handle. So I put a catch can on it on the truck to help with that. Didn't help. I went atmosphere with it as well. Just thought maybe I want no restrictions, so that could help with the blow by. Didn't work. I still was leaking a little bit of oil, leaving a little bit of a drop. If I had a gravel driveway, sure, a guy could rock it, no big deal. I can't stand that though. I don't live in a gravel driveway. So, and then I had I had a number 2 injector from when I bought the truck. It always had that code for having it in balance, or I can't remember the actual code, but the injector ended up sticking wide open, and of course, it's not good. You can melt pistons that way, so I'm like, crap it. So I ended up buying a reused injector. I was gonna do the whole swap, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take it in because I'm also gonna get some other work. And then I noticed when I started it, I had oil coming out of my downpipe. So I was like, uh-oh, now what? Like, what's going on? So I ended up putting it back together, taking it to a diesel shop, the one that did the tune on the truck. And I had them do a compression test on number 2, because I'm like, these aluminum pistons with an injector sticks. I wasn't towing or nothing, it was just idling. Drove around a little bit with it just to get myself home, and I'm like, it's not worth it with this high mileage of a truck. So had them do a compression test on number 2. I think factory, don't quote me on this, but I think they're supposed to be around 360, 350, and it was down to like 320, which passes. But if that cylinder's down, all the rest are going to be down 10, 20, 30 PSI. And that's not lost, but you start adding that up per cylinder, you're pretty much dropping a cylinder for pressure, for horsepower. And it's not good. The engine's wore out. So I ended up putting in a long block, rebuilt from DFC Diesel. I go through that in a video too. It's called Update on the 6.4 Power Stroke. That comes with a lot of fixes that these engines have, which gives it that bad name of worst diesel ever. So it gives you all new valve train. It gives you updated pistons to the Max Force HD pistons, which international engines came with, I'm pretty sure, not the Ford ones. Obviously all new bearings, stuff like that. New front and rear covers. And then with the heads, it O-rings them, right? It fire rings them, so, which isn't a big issue. These heads actually, they're still a 4-bolt, just like you are your 6 liters, but they're a bigger head bolt, so they have more clamping force. So it's not really an issue with these trucks with head gaskets, but they put head studs in it, they O-ringed it. It's got ARP rod bolts too, which I don't think were a weakness, but whatever, it's part of the deal. It's called the Street Series engine, so and then it kind of fixes all the problem. Okay, so now they put the engine in, they're like, oh crap, your small turbo, because these trucks are obviously dual turbo, your small turbo seized right up. And I feel like that's where the oil came from, obviously, for whatever reason. Or maybe if it wasn't oil, like when my ejector stuck open, when I tried to start it, it pushed it through the intake and then out the exhaust. But anyway, so, okay, so I was like, okay, I want to go single turbo. Let's put a Smedding on there. Well, that was like a 3-week wait minimum. And by this point, it's already been over a month waiting on the engine to be built and shipped to the shop. So I'm like, I don't want to wait another 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm in Canada. It's not just easy to get stuff. And a lot of people don't stock this stuff. So I was able to find a set of rebuilt dual turbos, or sorry, not dual, the compound turbos, I guess, the twin turbos they have on these trucks. Threw those on there. So it's got new turbos, new long block. I put a whole new serpentine system on the front, so I don't have to rip all that apart again, which I do a video on change. Oh yeah, that was another issue too. My water pump was leaking, so I changed that. So they threw my water pump on. That was all new, obviously. New serpentine belt, new tensioners, which is another issue. Tensioners get loose on these trucks and get wonky, so change that. And then they put new downpipes on too. So with the factory, another issue with these trucks is not downpipes, up pipes. Another issue with these trucks is the up pipes. Is your driver's side has a bracket off the side where it'll mount to, so you have, and then it'll go down, it'll hold it, and has one going down to your EGR cooler, right? Well, when you delete it, you just put a plate on that pipe. Sounds all good, right? But I feel like when it's mounted to that cooler, it helps with vibration. But over time, that bracket will vibrate and put a crack where it welds to that a pipe, and it'll crack there. Mine had no crack, so I was going to get them just to move my exhaust back pressure sensor by deleting that whole pipe and just putting it up on top there, right to the mount on pretty much where your T4 flange is going to be for your turbo, where that pipe would come off of. And then I'm like, just drill it, mount it there. But they ended up putting all new up pipes for me that I had to delete in there. So don't have to worry about that bracket. I guess it's done properly, and that's how it should have been done. So that's all done. So all of these common issues that these 6.4s have, and also deleted. This long block was obviously deleted because it was before. So long as you end up having these trucks deleted, your valve train, your rockers change around 160,000 miles, 100 to 160. Because rockers are bad they kind of fail on these trucks. The aggressive cam lobe is for that. But anyway, we share the same cam as 6 liter, I heard, and the same rockers. But whatever, you change those. You put in the firing and the you don't need it, but you might as well. The firing on the heads, your head studs, and a new engine. And also with this engine, it's got total seal piston rings, so there's zero blow by, none. If you can floor it, no, like it's great. Like, you know right away if something's wrong, you'll have blow by, where before these trucks came with a little bit at idle almost. So yeah, and it not needing to regen and stuff. Like this truck should last forever now, with a good body with no rust, new drivetrain, a good transmission. Front and rear diffs are good. I changed the fluid in the rear diff in my last video. She's good. And the transfer case, change the fluid in that. Everything works good now. So everything mechanical is working great on this truck. And even inside works great. The only issue I'm having now is, the only issue I should really say is my AC is not working. So I'll have to look into that. Figure it out if it's turning my compressor on or not, if there's even enough pressure when they repressured it up after the engine swap. But that's the only issue. So now the fun part is, this truck I'm going to keep it for a while, long time. It's going to be like a flagship for the channel for a way. I'm going to end up doing some upgrades on that. I have a bunch coming in right now for appearance upgrades. I'm just waiting for the last few to come in. Then I'll do a video on that, showing before and after, and turning this truck from a legit pawpaw truck to like a 2024 in the future, not future, but in the present, not just 2008 looking. We're going to do that video, and then I'm waiting for some things to follow through to figure out the next video. So I got like another month of content just easily with this truck. with stuff I'm going to do to it. So follow along with that. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, thanks. You're helping a lot. It's, you know, I'm doing this stuff anyway, but I prefer doing it with people that want to see it and that are actually watching it. Otherwise, it's for nothing in a way, I guess. I might as well not record it and save myself the headache. So yeah, so that is why I bought the world's worst diesel. And honestly, these 6.4s, like, they're only made it for 3 years, and like this body style for 3 years. I love this body style. I like it better than the 6-liter. That's just a personal opinion. This can look nice with the Outlaw Edition, the Harley Edition. But their interiors, their dashes are just, they're just, the 6-liter, they're too roundy for me. I like the edgy, I like the, like, you know, the piano black. The gauges are nice in this. This only has the 1 year only Harley seats, the orange and black, which is kind of a pain in the butt, because if you have like a ripped up seat like this, you can't really find seat covers. Somebody makes knockoff covers, but you can tell they're knockoff. They're not the same. Either way, I digress on that. So I kind of have a rare truck, right? A 1 year only with the 105-year badges on it with the orange and black interior. That is why I bought this truck. I like the outside look of it. I do like the power of the 6.4. Like when you give it gas, she rips. Because of twin turbo, or the turbo, easy to tune because they have the kind of the one-off, I guess you want to call it, fuel pump in it, high pressure pump. So he can just keep adding power just by tuning. Boop, boop, boop. The injectors can handle quite a bit of horsepower, so you don't have to upgrade anytime soon unless you just go crazy with a big turbo or something. The transmissions are usually pretty stout, as long as you take care of them and don't tow a lot, I guess. That's why my first one went out. And everyone hates them, and I love having what people don't like. I like rocking stuff that's either A, not cool anymore, or B, I don't know, it's not like, because I don't like being like the rest of the people. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a reason why, you know, the LBZs and the LLMs and all of those, you know, the Dodges, there's a reason why those are popular. You know, they have their peaks, they have their good stuff. I've had a Dodge. I've actually never had a Duramax. I had 2 Dodge diesels, and I've had 3 Power Strokes. So yeah, I'm not a Duramax though. I almost bought one before this. That was kind of what I was in between. But went back to Ford. That's where my heart kind of is. So yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, guys, hit me up. I am on Instagram, Hollywoods_garage. I'm on TikTok, Hollywoods Garage. Every time I try to, any comments, I try to respond. If it's a respondable comment, I'll respond like within a timely matter. Just it helps to have you guys do that. It keeps the algorithms happy. I know it's annoying when YouTubers say that, but it is true. But if you oh yeah, and one last thing, your cruise control, when it's on and you press resume, you press this sucker like 4 or 5 times, she hauls. Like all of a sudden it's like full boost. You're in, like, you just give her. Find you a vehicle like the 6.4. My foot's not on the gas. Here's the cruise. I'm gonna press it up like 6 times. Watch that speedometer. I've had a lot of vehicles in my day, and this is the only one that just like, shoo, just goes. And everyone, like when you're going on the highway and you're accelerating from like say 70 to 100, or I mean, I'm doing kilometers an hour, not miles. Like people just think you're trying to race them, but you're not. It's just the cruise control. Like I've never had a truck just get up and go. Usually it's slow. Let me know if yours does that. I've had 3 of these trucks, and they all did it. So I guess it's probably normal for the 6.4s, but every other vehicle I've owned, they don't go that fast. Like the truck just wants to give her. But we'll end this video here. Thanks for watching, guys.